I don't think many people will come today because it's a holiday everywhere. But I just thought since we're doing this every first Monday of the month, I should continue with this date so that everybody will remember that on their calendar. This is the monthly editor office hour. If you have any question about anything, you're welcome to jump in to ask. But
Okay. Yeah.
otherwise, we're
I
just
think,
chatting.
yeah, just
No set agenda.
Yeah, Professor, you just mentioned my first paper published from my master degree. I still
Wow.
remember the story. I sent to like a fake journal website, isn't it?
Oh, can you share about your experience?
Yeah, that's a
when you published?
good story to tell actually. In the previous webinar, I think in a couple of occasions, I always close the webinar by saying you need to make sure you submit to the official journal website, right? Because I know for tourism management and some other journals now, they have a so-called mirror journal. I actually received inquiries from authors saying, what happened to my submission? But then I was like, I couldn't find the submission, so they submitted to the Mirror Journal. So Daisy, you can share your experience.
Okay, imagine it's still happening. Wow.
Yeah,
that's yeah. I think there's quite a few journals nowadays. They have a how to say very similar names. Which I can tell that. But with my case, I think so many years ago, it's exactly the same name of the journal, GTTM. But it's a fake website. But that's my first time to submit a paper, so I have no idea about the publishers. So I just search on Google. I find this journal name, and it's have the login, upload, those steps the similar way. But after half a year, I feel it's quite long, even though I don't know how long the review process should be. And then I think I asked Professor Xu, and then I think she's the person telling me probably it's a fake. And then I contact the real journal coordinators, and then I submit again. But it's quite horrible. If I don't really ask Professor Xu, probably I have no idea what's going on.
Wow.
Yeah, you waited for half a year. Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah. And
so
I still
another
don't know.
journal, JTTM, Journal of Tourism and Travel Marketing.
Travel and tourism marketing, yes.
Yeah, it should be that journal, but what the website I was using is a fake one. It's using the same name, but like a very simplified website. I don't quite know what's the purposes of them to hosting this fake website, since they did not ask me for money and they did not ask me for anything. So I don't know what's the reason for them.
Yeah, I don't know. Milo, you have something to share?
Maybe there are some three the third party institutions using papers for profit. Actually, in China, there are some institutions like this, and there are also some open access journals. Not very sure about that.
Yeah, so I was surprised that Daisy, you had to wait for 6 months, because they usually accept your paper very quickly and say then you have to pay the publication fee.
Yeah, and at that time I don't know what's the normal period of a review. I thought maybe 6 months. I feel it's long, but I dare not ask, so I asked Professor Xu first. So I think I should ask earlier. It's
What a terrible story. But good news is you asked. At least you asked.
Yeah, but it is very important, because I know the author asked me about tourism management and say, what happened to the submission? And I was like, and then that person gave me the website for the submission. And then I look at it, they use the same logo. They use the same journal cover.
Wow.
Oh.
So it's difficult for, for inexperienced authors to know.
Hmm.
Oh.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
that's I think that's entirely illegal, isn't it?
Mm.
true.
Mm.
So I forwarded the information to the publisher. I don't know what they did with it, but yeah.
Mm.
So what can
Cool.
we do if we encounter such a situation? If we just got involved in this situation, who we can contact? Police?
I don't know.
Also,
Yeah, I think the publishers are doing the best they can, but it's hard, right?
Oh,
Anybody
yeah.
can come up with a website nowadays.
Yeah. And recently, I also received an email I can share with you in the chat box. I think it's a fake link, the nomination link
Oh yeah,
was
Oh.
posted. Right. Yeah, I assume it is fake.
yeah.
Mm.
There are a lot of money-making businesses.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Mm.
So they will give you an award or saying you're the top 10 or top 15%, and all you need to do is to pay a small fee. And they
Oh,
will
yeah.
they will give you a certificate, and they will put you on their website, things like that.
Mm. Well, I saw their certificate is not as professional as I imagine. It's so I think it's very just like a toy.
Low cost production.
Yeah, very low cost.
I think we can put the website in the articles. Most of the people want to submit their papers to a journal because they have read the papers on the journal. So if the if the papers published in the journal, there's a website for the homepage of the journal or some submission informations.
Mm.
Yeah, you are
They
right, Milo.
will not be misguided.
Yeah. They posted our menu and our abstract and our introduction, so they can saw all of our publication on the website.
Mm.
I think that's those activities. I think mainly targeting at those inexperienced scholars. Yeah, I think those, for example, those recognitions and those publication websites. Since we were with that time, it's very limited publication or submission experiences. Probably the best way is to communicate with other experienced authors, or through those like webinars or schools, those research seminars to get more experiences. I think these early career researchers are probably the target for these activities.
Yeah, you are right. You are right.
Yeah.
Their target is me, just like me.
But not anymore. You have asked around. You can ask.
No. I'm an early career researcher. Yeah, so they targeted me. The ECR, right?
Yeah, ECR.
Well, we have a couple more people joining. So again, if you have any question, feel free to ask. Otherwise, we're just chatting. This is a New Year's Day, so we're just doing some social chatting. But if you have any question about research or tourism management or any other related research issues, feel free to ask at any time.
Hello.
Hi,
Hello,
Kelly.
Professor. Hello. Happy New Year, everyone. And I'm Kelly, a PhD student from the Sun Yat-sen University now. And actually, it's my first time to participate in this TM office hour. I feel very honored. I'd like to inquire about your perspectives on the current state of the research papers related to the theme of the artificial intelligence, such like this. Could you share something with us? Has it become a popular or hot academic focus? I don't know. in the field of the tourism. Could you share something like this?
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome to attend the session. It's a good question. What is the current state? Actually, we recently did a literature search, not a systematic literature review, but a literature search related to specifically generative AI. But AI is a much broader topic. We've seen a lot of submissions about the use of service robots, whether it's actually a physical robot that you can see, or some of the machine functions that you see online, virtual AI. But we do see more and more papers submitted. Again, it's the same issue that it's not necessarily the topic that will make the submission successful or not. It's the going back to the basics. Why do we need this piece of research? And if there is a clear need, then what is the methodology? Do you have a very rigorous research methodology to answer the research question? Of the generative AI studies that we have seen so far, many of the papers are conceptual, basically talking about the strengths and weaknesses, opportunities, issues, and for example, issues with ethics and all that. So, and of the empirical studies, then some of the results are quite descriptive, basically saying what is happening. And some of the study use experimental design to compare using Gen AI versus not using Gen AI, or look at the antecedents and consequences of applying generative AI in hospitality and tourism. So that's the extent of studies that we have seen. In terms of the issues, for example, security, information, misinformation, or what they call the misrepresentation, or some of the lack of clarity of the sources of information, those are mentioned, but we don't have a solution yet. So those are the issues related to generative AI. But of the broader AI, then pretty much a significant portion of the papers now get published has an AI component to it, whether it's big data analytics or, you name it. So we do see a lot of studies coming in, but then it's just like any other topic, we do reject a lot of the studies. So whether it's AI, whether it's big data, whether it's experimental design, whether it's generative AI, they go through the same screening process. The first question is, do we need such a study? What is the research question? Do we have any gap that this study can fill? And then how rigorous is the methodology? And at the end, what problem did you solve, and then what kind of theoretical contribution this particular study makes? So I guess AI is just a topic like any other topic. So yeah, we do see quite a few submissions lately. I don't know if that answered your question. What specific aspect of AI research you would like to know more?
Yeah, thank you, Professor. I think it's a very good answer for me, and
Are you
inspired me a lot.
are you doing AI studies?
Recently, I'm quite interested in this topic, but about the methodology are quite difficult for me, so I'm still learning about this.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I know a lot of tourism researchers now are trying to pick up some IT skills, basic programming, or at least have a good understanding of what are you looking for. So some basic IT skills, which is very helpful. Just like statistical analysis skills, IT skill is now just one of the things in your toolbox. Good to have. All right, any other questions?
Hi, Professor Xu.
Hi, Cherry.
Yeah, I just heard you talk about some AI article related to the conceptual paper. So I was just wondering because I saw many conceptual paper in Annals, but I didn't see many in TM. But as both of you are very top journals, so I was wondering, is that some preference that TM don't publish many conceptual paper or it's just journal standard or what?
Yeah,
Thank
in
you.
general, tourism management does not publish conceptual papers. Annals has, my understanding is Annals has more of a social science oriented focus in terms of the scope of the journal, whereas tourism management is a management focused journal. Being a management focused journal, the reviewers expect all the articles that we publish have specific management implications. Before we can provide specific management implications, that means in addition to the concept, in addition to a model, for example, you propose, you need to empirically verify the model to make sure that it works before you provide managerial implications, right? We cannot simply tell the manager, this is what you should do based on a concept. So the concept needs to be tested, repeatedly tested, before we can confidently say that before you establish the internal validity, external validity, then you say this is the recommendation based on the study results. So yeah, in principle, tourism management does not publish conceptual papers. However, conceptual papers could be considered under the research note category. If it's really something unique, it's a new concept, nobody has looked at it before, then it's possible that we will ask the reviewers to take a look, but it's only under the research note, not a full research article category. Good observation.
Oh, thank you. And I have another question, but it's a long time ago. I was wondering that because our tourism journalists, we have the impact factor and the classification. Like for example, for tourism management, it belongs to the management Q1, and also hospitality and tourism Q1, and also environmental studies also Q1. So I was wondering, how could a journal get this kind of ranking? Because based on my understanding, tourism management related to management or hotel and tourism management is reasonable. I'm happy to see that TM is also on environmental, but how could you make it? Or is there any criteria for the ranking to put the journal's name on their rank? Thank
I
you.
have no idea. I don't have an answer.
I see. So it's
yeah.
not the journals.
No, I think what you're referring to is the classification in China, right?
I think it's a JCR impact factor. And when I search on the Web of Science, I can see where the classification of the journal is. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know who made that classification.
Okay. For the
Yeah.
impact factor, it's by the Web of Science by Scopus. They calculate that there is a formula, although they changed the formula a couple of times in the past few years. So the method there should be transparent. We all know how they calculate that. We know the formula, but how did tourism management get on the environmental category? I have no idea. Probably because the type of articles published in tourism management, the keywords that they use relates to sustainability, maybe. That's my guess. But we don't actively campaign for ranking. Ranking is just done. It's beyond our control.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. I'm happy to see that. Yeah.
Me too.
Great. Yeah, okay, thank you.
And different countries have different lists. Australia has the the business school dean's list, and then the UK has its own list, and I don't think US has a nationwide list, but then there is the FT50. Again, I have no idea how the FT50 got selected. What are the criteria? I know for the Australian and for the UK ones, they have a committee that they review the list every X number of years. But again, I'm not sure what are the criterias. I think the criteria will have to include more than just the impact factor, because impact factor could be influenced by so many factors.
Yeah, I also heard from my supervisor, and she told me sometimes is for impact factor for a period of years, like 5 years or 3 years, and then, but I don't know. I see so many ranking, and a top journal is top journal, but others is the ranking is quite different. Yeah, thank you for explaining. It's quite confusion for us, like early stage researchers, so we don't know which rank to follow, and how do we know the journal we submit our paper is good or not, and which one is better. Yeah, sometimes we will think about it, because for early career researcher, the ranking is linked with how your job, how is your publication, and how's your performance, and linked with salary. So it's quite challenge. But thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I think ranking or the impact factor is just one or two factors that you should look at. The fit definitely is something you need to consider. If it's not management oriented, then tourism management is not the right journal. If it's not within the scope of, for example, annals, you have to look at specifically the description of the annals. I'm sure the editors can tell you what specific direction or focus the annals would look for. And the same for other, even though some of the names are pretty similar, hospitality, tourism, hospitality, and you put research international and all that, but I'm pretty sure each journal has a different focus. So fit is also very important.
Hi, Professor. Yeah, I have a question.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm wondering if there is any tourism papers that have been published in Nature.
Good question. Well, Nature has so many journals. I don't know. Maybe you do a search and let me know.
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah. I'm
Does
very curious
anybody
about
else
this.
know? I know a few of us submitted a paper. It's still under review,
Oh,
but it's not the Nature. It's one of the Nature journals.
Nature journals may have many categories, and
Yeah.
they have many subcategories.
Yeah. And many of their journals' impact factors are actually quite high. It's not deep.
Yeah.
Nature, I mean, Nature obviously is very high, but their different categories of journals are also very well cited and read.
I noticed their citation and impact factors may reach 20 or 30. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. I think there is an echoing effect there. That's the issue with impact factor. Everybody is talking about impact factor now. Actually, impact factor is not everything. A paper get cited doesn't mean it's a good paper. It just means people pay attention to it. It could be a very bad paper and people criticize it. Everybody criticize that paper and say, don't do that, we don't trust it. But that paper gets very high citation, right? So high citation doesn't mean it's good. Not necessarily.
Yeah. We should also be care about the quality of the paper.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, as a general rule, there must be a correlation between quality and citation, but it's not a perfect correlation.
Thank you, Professor. Hello, Daisy.
Yeah.
I'm curious about if you have encountered any bottleneck when you come up with an idea for a project or a paper. Well, if you have encountered that, so how did you deal with that?
You mean for the paper or the idea generation or paper publication?
Yeah. Do you have any
Ah.
bottleneck?
What is the most challenging part for you?
Yeah, it's yeah, I think for it's a different, how to say, different kind of like a bottleneck, or what do we say? For example, sometimes you stuck there, or something like barriers. Some of them like structural. For example, in general publication, I feel when I first find my first year working in the new job. For example, the first year I get the permanent job in the UK is a huge transition from the Hong Kong education system to the UK education system. It took me a lot of efforts in adapting the new system. So I remember I really published 1 or 0 papers during that year. I feels very hard at that period. It's in the transition. That's from a student, PhD student, to a permanent higher education staff. So that's some structural, barrier or some difficulties for staff to have their publication process. But in general, for the idea generations or for publications in general, for the idea generation, I do not feel particular some difficulties that I'm stuck there. You need to, if I have any question, I ask my co-authors, ask my collaborators. If I don't have a good ideas, I do not push myself to publish if I am not ready. So that's one thing. I think for others, sometimes I think if something stuck me, it's not stuck me, but I think methodology-wide, I remember just one paper I worked with Professor Xu. It's about using the multi-level analysis. That's the method I knew that, but I'm not really expert in that part. So what I was doing, it takes a longer time, but I was joining some workshops to particularly learn about the software, about the multi-level analysis. And then I think we solved this methodological difficulties and published paper. That's from the methodology-wide how we overcome these difficulties. Am I answering your question?
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Yeah, just when for the idea wide, I don't feel I have to publish something if I don't feel the idea is good enough or is mature enough. But otherwise, I feel there's no strong like difficulties or barriers in the publication side. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really,
That's
that
true.
means you're very good.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I think some people, that's a thing that we see a lot, that is recycling. Sometimes, for example, we get a submission and I can tell that submission was rejected by a different journal, and then the authors did not make any changes and just go ahead and submit it to tourism management, because the paper maybe was originally developed, the author hoped to publish in a particular journal and get probably that's rejected. Therefore didn't have a whole lot of reviewer comments, and therefore did not bother to make any changes and then submit to tourism management. And we can see right through it. So please don't do that. Each journal has a little different focus. So before you resubmit, then you need to think about why was that paper get rejected. If it's rejected by one, it's more then likely it will be that's rejected by another. So just like Daisy said, if it's not ready, then don't waste the chance, because for each journal now only gives each paper one opportunity. Once it's rejected, you cannot resubmit. So before you submit, you have to make sure that's the best work you can present before you go ahead and hit submit.
Yeah, I also want to supplement. It's really about how much efforts you're putting on into one paper. For example, if I really feel that I want to publish the paper in tourism management, sometimes I hesitate because I know I will receive a lot of comments from the paper review process. But if I submit it first to tourism management, if it's not really good enough, I got rejected. But of course, I got very valuable comments. So I feel I missed the only chance that I could submit to tourism management, even though I got a lot of comments, valuable comments that I have to submit to another journal. So sometimes I hesitated, or I'm still having questions. For example, should I firstly submit my paper to the journal I really want to publish, or I should submit to some other journals to get comments and then revise and then to submit my best journal? Sometimes it's a myth, but I feel because Professor Xu said there's only one chance for you to submit the paper to one journal, and I want to make sure it's the best.
Yeah, I mean, different people use different strategies. Some people are saying, "Oh, I want to shoot for the best first. If it doesn't work, then I may go to other options." But like you say, if it's rejected, then that's your only chance for this particular journal. So it's good to get other people's feedback. Don't use the journal to get feedback.
Yes.
It's good to have to have your colleagues to take a look at your paper before you submit. We all have our blind spots. When I submit papers, I was like, oh wow, the reviewers are really good. So I benefit from reviewers' comment myself. So it's always helpful to have other people to take a look at your manuscript before you submit.
Yeah, I think that's a better way to make it go through different rounds of revisions and then officially submit to the journal. Yes.
Hello, Professor.
Okay.
I have one more question based on Daisy's answer. Daisy mentioned the methodology workshops she participated. So I want to ask, will tourism management organize such methodology workshops?
We organize some webinars, but it's different from methodology workshops. I think the one Daisy mentioned, it was like quite a few days, was it? I think you paid the software developer, right? Was it 3 days, 5 days?
Yeah, that's about I think 3 days workshop. I need to apply money from my own institutions and then to support me to attend the workshop in London, and it's quite intensive training. So it may not be enough time to just have a several hours workshop. They need to have a real data to practice. So I think that's more helpful for me. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. So how could we find such methodology workshops or even online?
Well, depending on what you want to learn, right? There are a lot of online courses like MOOCs or paid or open access, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think I think for it depends on what kind of software or methodology you're looking for. For some specific I think techniques that not many people are using it, or like my case, like some particular person, they are developing it and they're trying to sell in their own workshops, so you know who are looking for. I think it's different stories. But if like a very common or widely used software, I think there's a lot of available resources online already. Or you can just send email to those people who are expert. You can ask them and follow them to see if they have any personal workshops.
Okay, thank you, Daisy. Thank you, Professor Xu.
Yeah, I think if you're talking about overall methodology, it's more likely to be a course offered as part of the graduate program, master's degree program, or doctoral degree program on research methods, or some university offers statistical analysis 1, 2, 3. And those are available online. There are many research method courses or statistical analysis courses, qualitative research method courses. Some of those are paid, some of those are free. And then there are particular software workshops that whether it's Amos or M Plus or and Vivo, I'm sure there is a workshop online as well. So and then the basic programming, there are lots of basic programming courses online.
Yeah, Professor, I also want to provide some supplement. And if you want to target on the methodology part, we may have to first know what kind of research we are doing, quantitative or qualitative. And for example, if you want to do some structure equation modeling, you can use Amos or PLS or even R. So different tools can do the same things, but you have to make sure what kind of tools you will apply for your research. Yeah, and you have to learn such a tool or software to integrate it in your research methodology, and such as data collection, data cleaning. You can use Python, you can use C, you can use C++. So at first, we have to make sure what kind of research we are doing and what kind of research questions we are going to deal with, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to learn, so it's good to have a priority list. What do you want to learn first? The more you know, obviously, the more you have in your toolbox, but our time is limited. So prioritize based on the type of research you want to do. Then you want to maybe focus on a few of those tools. And then once you learn, then get opportunity to practice. If we don't practice, we'll forget after a year or two.
Okay, thank you again.
You're welcome.
One more question. So, where can we usually get advance notice of the TM webinar information? Twitter or website?
I usually post it on TriNet, and then I post it on my LinkedIn.
Oh, okay. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So in the future, this is my plan. In the future, we're just gonna do every first Monday of each month. Maybe if, for example, in February, if we have a webinar, then we don't have the editor office hour. If we don't have a webinar, then we'll have the editor office hour. Hopefully that's easier to remember, because I know some people got confused when we had 2 or 3 things happening at the same time. And then we all had different Zoom meeting rooms. So some people went into the wrong room at the wrong time, thinking that, this is something else. So to streamline it, if people can just remember every first Monday of the month, something is happening with tourism management at the same time. But for webinar, I usually make announcement on TriNet first.